What's up everybody, and welcome to another first look video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the all new 100 to 400mm f5-6.3 DG DN contemporary telephoto zoom lens for the Fujifilm X Mount. Let's take a look. Alright guys, let's go over the exterior of the lens and then we'll talk about the features that this lens has. So taking a look at the exterior of the lens, we've got a switch on the top of the lens itself that will lock the zoom in place. So if you have that on, see that? It doesn't allow you to open the lens, which is really nice, just so it doesn't accidentally telescope out and then you smash your lens. Or, you know, if you're holding your camera down, same thing, gravity will have it slide down, and over time it will do it more and more. So that's nice to have that switch on there. That way, whenever it's stored, you don't have to worry about it, you know, telescoping out or, you know, causing it to get loose over time. On the side of the lens itself, we have our little function alley. The top switch is the AFL and AF button. Now this is replacing the AF on and off that you find in the Sony E Mount version and the Panasonic L Mount, and that's only because it's the way that Fuji does their focusing system. So you have a AFL, which is a lock, which is essentially switching over to manual, and then you have your autofocus continuous switch. Underneath that, we have a focusing limiter switch, and this is great if you're working, let's say you're focusing on something really far away and you're zoomed in all the way. You don't have to worry about the lens trying to focus, and you get that like focus breathing. You won't get that with that lens when you switch that on. You could do the same thing from 6 meters and down to 0. Which is really nice to have. Underneath that, we have our autofocus function button, and that's going to be just like on the E Mount and L Mount version. The only difference is it's called a function button, but that is the autofocus lock button there. Our last switch is our optical stabilization, and this is going to allow us to switch it off to level 1 and level 2, and this is just going to depend on whether you're on a tripod or you're hand holding. Now the last thing I want to talk about is the bottom portion of this lens here. You'll see that this lens does not come with a lens collar, and that's because Sigma is trying to save on weight, and it's also trying to save on cost. But the good thing about that is they do give you the option to still add a lens collar to it by just removing this rubber seal here, which is really nice to have. So if it's somebody that needs it, then you can go ahead and pick it up on your own. And if you don't need it, you save some money on that, which is really nice. The lens is constructed of 22 elements in 16 groups, dust and splash resistant, and comes with a super multi-layer coating on the front element to help keep it clean. The elements inside have been designed to minimize flare and ghosting, and if you have a compatible camera, you do get lens aberration correction. Now, my thoughts on the lens is I found it to be really nice and responsive. The autofocus with the X-T4 worked really well. I didn't have too many problems trying to focus on the birds because they were so far away, and you'll see in some of my shots, I was able to focus on them with a single focus point and it had no problem doing that. If you are completely, you know, tellied out at 400, I would advise you to use the focus switch button to minimize the amount of focus breathing you get, because there was 1 or 2 times where I forgot to switch it on and it takes forever. It's, you know, it's a really like slow, smooth transition of zoom, but it might not be something you want if you're trying to photograph, you know, fast moving subjects like this lens is intended for. So with that being said, just make sure you have, you know, that switch turned on to the distance that you're trying to focus on, and that'll help, you know, the autofocus be a little bit snappier as well. Other than that, it felt like a really nice lens, and I hope this is the beginning of Sigma introducing those really nice full frame lenses onto the APS-C and Micro Four Thirds body. Now, I had the pleasure of being able to take this lens out with the Fujifilm X-T4 camera, and I hit up the Newport Bluffs. Now, it was high tide, but I did manage to get some cool, interesting pictures of some ducks and some of the wildlife around there. So without further ado, let's go ahead and share some of those sample images with you guys. If you guys found this video helpful, make sure you give it a like and consider subscribing to our channel if you haven't already done so for everything photo and video. If you guys want to learn more about the Sigma 100-400mm f5-6.3 DG DN OS contemporary lens for the X Mount camera, head on over to one of our Southern California retail locations or visit us online at samys.com. Well, that's going to do it for us here today, guys. I'll catch you on the next one.